welcome to my latest Star Wars video. So today we're going to be taking a look at the adverts that featured in those very early issues of the British Star Wars Weekly comic. Now, I don't know about you, but I absolutely love this comic. I bought it right from issue 1. And, well, that's what we're going to be having a look at today. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. So Star Wars Weekly ran for 117 issues, and then from issue 118 it became The Empire Strikes Back. Now what I've done, I've been through the first 25 or so issues of Star Wars Weekly, and I've got some really nice high quality scans of all the original adverts as they were being released, and it's quite fascinating to look at these when you think that initially there was no action figures, there was very little merchandise in fact for Star Wars, so it's amazing what was actually available at the time. But by 25 weeks in to Star Wars Weekly, certainly Palitoy were all there, and everyone was waiting with bated breath for those action figures. So in this first video then we're going to have a look at those very early adverts right up to the Palitoy introduction of the Palitoy figures. So issue 1, which was dated February the 8th, had a cover date rather of February the 8th, 1978, and on the inside front cover was an advert for the Star Wars fan club, and I am surprised that I didn't actually join this back then. I think I joined more like around Empire Strikes Back time, but the advert is all the same, quite nice. It's got a couple of the photos there. You can see Luke in Stormtrooper in the top left there, and a Darth one. And the writing is absolutely typical. You can see some ad guy, "Hey kids, be the first on your planet to join the most exciting fan club in the history of the galaxy, the official Star Wars fan club. Headquartered on the 4th moon of Yavin." That's good. It's quite interesting though that for your £2.95, and this was the UK fan club, you got for that a 20 by 28 colour poster, a heat transfer for your t-shirt. Remember when you'd get up to transfer and your mum would have to iron it onto your t-shirt, an embroidered jacket patch, self-stick colour decal, a Star Wars book cover newsletter membership card, 8 by 10 colour photo, and a wallet-sized photo. And look at that, we look forward to welcoming you to the official Star Wars fan club. May the Force be with you. So that was in the very first issue. And the only other ad in the first issue was this one, which was enabling you to watch Star Wars at home. So this company in the UK was called Leisure Mail, and you could buy Star Wars in various different formats. So you could have it, the cheapest one was £4.50. No, it wasn't, it was £6.25, and that was for a 200-foot spool, which was about 8 minutes in length, and that would give you 8 minutes of black and white footage of Star Wars. If you wanted to go real high tech, you could get the 8 minutes of colour footage, but still silent, for £12.15, and then the ultimate package, which was 8 minutes of colour footage with sound, for £16.15. But that, let's not forget, that did include postage. There was one special extra long sound version, which was twice as long, approximately 20 minutes of footage from Star Wars with sound in colour for £32.95. How absolutely amazing is that? You may have seen on one of my earlier unboxing videos, I have got one of these old reels. I don't know which one it is, but absolutely amazing, you have to say. I'd like to know how many people actually went ahead and bought these. I mean, I remember going to a friend's birthday party, and his dad had bought this, and I think he must have had the most deluxe version, 20 minutes of colour Star Wars sound. I remember it quite well. Issue 2 had much the same adverts, but they also added this little one, which was the first glimpse of the Star Wars soundtrack, the double LP soundtrack. And this was actually just a competition. You could win the soundtrack from Pi, or you could win a Darth Vader helmet, which is quite nice, isn't it? So that was in issue 2, which is February the 15th. And then in issue 3, you actually had the competition that was advertised with a little 5 questions, which you had to put your answers into. And the first 20 received, got a Darth Vader helmet, and then the next 20 got a Star Wars soundtrack album. which is pretty good, wasn't it? No Marvel employees, their friends or relatives are allowed to enter. Issue 4, on the 29th of February, was advertising another competition. And you see there, this is actually this is one of the sets that I've got because I recognise that box. So I have actually covered that. And then later on in issue 4, there was a competition to win some Waddington's jigsaws. So these are the original Waddington's jigsaws, and they're really nice. So there was 4 of these in the set in the UK, and they had 48 of them to give away, which was really cool. And you had to sort of spot the differences with R2-D2 there. And then finally in issue 4 was another competition. So no actual merchandise being advertised per se, but there were competitions. And this one was through KP Outer Spacers, which was a packet of crisps, like a snack. And through them, if you had 3 packs of those wrappers, you could cut that little box out in the corner there and send off for the Star Wars kite, which I believe once again is a Palatoy one, although it's one I don't actually own. And enclose a check or postal order for 95p, and that would get you one of those fantastic Star Wars kites. And that was in issue 4. Issue 5, at last, is our first glimpse of actual Star Wars figures. Win the cast of Star Wars in miniature. So it says there, we're giving away 25 sets of Palatoy's superbly detailed Star Wars figures. Now each set contains 12 characters, ranging from Darth Vader to Princess Leia, 4 inches high. These authentic miniatures cost 99p each. That's £11.88 per set. And all you have to do is answer these easy questions, and the first 25 open will receive a Palatoy set of figures. Well, that's amazing. Now, interestingly, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They've only got 8 of the figures there of the 12. And they do look, I mean, it's hard to see, but the Ben Kenobi certainly doesn't look like the finished version. The Han Solo, it's difficult to tell, but it almost looks like the large head Han, but initially we had the small head, didn't we? And also the R2-D2 seems taller than, I think, the finished model, just the way the picture looks. But imagine that, a set of the original 12-back Palatoys. Now, what would that cost you today? Probably the best part of 10 to 15,000. And if it was the plastic Cape Jawa, you could add another 20 on that, I suppose, if they were all mint and opened. Absolutely fantastic. I wonder if anyone watching this actually won that set. That would be amazing, wasn't it? Now, also in issue 5 was this one, which was basically one of the most amazing double-page ads that Palatoy ever put out. And I remember spending hours looking at this, absolutely hours, just fantastic. So this is showing you the original Palatoy range. So we've got the kite in the middle, which we've already seen. Escape from the Death Star board game. Well, that was, once again, these are things that they could get out very, very quickly. You've got your make your own poster set and poster art set in the bottom left corner, and Star Wars dip-dops, masks, and the Play-Doh. So we've seen all of that, but the big thing is there in the top right, which is the action figures. So looking at the artwork there, it does appear as if it is the 2000 AD artist Brian Bolland who went on to create some of the most iconic Judge Dredd strips ever created, including Judge Death, and he was the first to draw Judge Anderson, but a fantastic British artist, went on to work for DC, famously doing the Batman Killing Joke adaptation, which was just one of the highlights of Batman. But this is very early on in the 70s, and this magazine, this comic dated March the 8th, was the first real sign that the Palatoy figures were on their way. And what a blooming great advert that was. Once again, the picture only shows the same figures that we saw earlier on. So it looks like some of the later ones. So which ones are missing? So we haven't got a Jawa there. There's no Death Squad Commander, is there? Who else is missing? Is the Tusken Raider there? No, there's no Tusken Raider either. So there were a few figures actually missing from that range, and for some reason they weren't put in that advert. But we know what's coming. But what a great double page spread that was, and that was for issue 5, and that was our first sort of glimpse of the figures. Nothing for issue 6. The adverts were just ones that we've already seen being repeated. Issue 7 had these ones, which was to get yourself some Star Wars 3-inch badges. There were those big badges. I think I've shown a couple of those in my unboxing videos. I think I've got them all by the little one on the little R2-D2 one. And then some early patches as well, which I remember seeing, but I don't remember that one that says Brotherhood of Jedi Knights. That's one I don't actually remember seeing. There was no new adverts in issue 8, but in issue 9, we had an advert for rub-down transfers, and these were from Letraset. And once again, this was tied in with a competition, so it was a bit of free publicity for Letraset to get the excitement going for their brand, and they had 50 sets of those to be given away, which was pretty cool. Issue 10 saw Star Wars watches. It's TikTok time in Star Wars Weekly. Now, those British watches there with the actual non-digital ones, I think those are pretty darn scarce. I've got a couple of watches, and I haven't actually shown them yet on my channel because quite a lot of my very small bits and bobs, like watches and trinkets and stuff, is in a display case. So perhaps I need to just go and pull all the stuff that's in that display case out to show you. But I haven't got those watches, and I've never come across them either, so I think those are probably quite scarce. Issue 11, we had the first glimpse of the Helix Star Wars range, and I really like this because it's got C-3PO there with his school hat on, his school cap, and they had, I mean, look at the stuff there. You got the pencil cases with the like the shop display thing, a tub of pencils, a tub of rulers, the pencil case, and some of the pens and pencil sets are really nice. I love the Helix range, and they had 10 sets of all that to give away, which is quite nice. Issue 11 on the back cover had an advert for the Force Beam. Once again, I've got a few lightsabers in my collection, but I've not actually got round to showing you them yet. But I do have one of these Force Beams, and it's cool. It's got the logo of the Force Beam on the bottom. They interestingly don't call it the lightsaber. There was official lightsabers obviously later on, but this one was not called the lightsaber, it was just the Force Beam. Issue 12, and we've got the first Star Wars bubble baths. Win yourself a galactic bubble bath pack. R2-D2 and Darth Vader bubble bath packs are waiting to be cleaned up by 24 lucky winners. Brilliant. Once again, I've not got those, I don't think. I've got some bubble, well, as you've seen, I've got some bubble baths, but I've not got those. Nothing in issues 13, 14 or 15 that we haven't already seen, but issue 16 is this one for Shreddies. Now, free from Shreddies now, Star Wars rub-down transfer sets with your favourite characters in every Star Wars offer pack. So these were little, well, you can see the guys pulling out the sheet of stickers there, and these do exist with a Star Wars picture on the back of the packet. I reckon those are pretty darn scarce, those. I think I've got some of the transfer sets somewhere, the little sets of transfers, but I haven't got any of the backdrops at all. Also in issue 16 was the toys of the film. So this was a single page advert for the figures, once again from Palatoy. We're now looking at May 1978. Now you can capture the thrills and excitement of Star Wars for yourself. Palatoy's new figures are all set for action, dressed in realistic Star Wars costumes. They're accurate in every detail, even down to Obi-Wan's laser sword. There are lots of other games and toys included including the fantastic Star Wars masks. Start your collection now. There we are, and they are really cool. Once again, I'm assuming that is a Brian Bolland artwork. Issue 8, nothing in issue 17, but issue 18, June the 7th, 1978. A bit of a better look there at the first two figural bubble baths. R2 and C3, sorry, R2 and Darth Vader there. I think I have actually got that Darth Vader one somewhere, but like a loose one of it. Definitely haven't got the R2-D2 one, but I do vaguely now remember seeing it. Now, there was nothing exciting or new in issues 19, 20, 21, 22 or 23, but in 24 we had this advert on the back, which was Sarah and Tim Learn the Green Cross Code. And the only reason I'm including this one here is, of course, because that's the Green Cross Code man, as depicted in the adverts and in this comic strip, is Dave Prowse, who was, of course, Darth Vader in the first original trilogy. Issue 25, we have another digital watch. Now, this one I think I do have. It's a really sort of basic design above the numbers there. Not the greatest of adverts, but once again they were giving away 15 digital watches by Texas Instruments, which well, they are what they are, I suppose. This was 1978, let's not forget. Issue 25 also had, and the last one we'll look at today, is another look at the Helix range. So you'll see that it's the same photo that they used earlier on the right, but on the left, they've added a shop display of the math set. They've got like another fold out set, which has got like a protractor and a ruler and a pen and a rubber. And they've got that half moon set, which is really, really nice as well. And then like what they call the school set. So absolutely fantastic stuff. And it says available from John Menzies, Boots, Lewis's, Debenhams, NSS, Youngsters and All Good Stationers. Now, Youngsters, it's interesting that they mentioned that one because there was a Youngsters in Plymouth where I lived as a kid growing up, and it was a two-floor toy store. Absolutely fantastic. I don't actually remember them having much Star Wars in there. I remember buying my Pocketeers in there because they had a big spinner full of all the Pocketeers from Palatoy. I don't remember buying any Star Wars in there, but who knows how the memory cheats after 40 odd years. Anyway, that's a very quick look, but some of the really interesting early adverts that appeared in those first 25 issues of Star Wars Weekly. And I look forward to showing you maybe issues 25 to 75 next time, because there'll be less duplication and we'll be able to fly through, and we'll start to get even more, because at the moment we've only just touched on the early Palatoy stuff. Believe me, there's so much more to cover, including the figure giveaways and mail away orders and massive competition. So there's some really, really great stuff to come. If you have enjoyed today's video, do please give it a thumbs up. Do consider subscribing for regular vintage Star Wars content, and I shall look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.